Hello everybody, this is Mia. Yesterday's video was more of a check-in and product review. I have some pistachios here that I'm trying not to eat, but I am eating because I'm hungry. Let's set those aside. I was thinking this morning about how impoverished I am and how I've been seeing patients and doing the work and having to deal with my own health and then not getting paid and having receipts that I turned in to the insurance the way that they told me to, that wasn't paper or fax but digitally, and there's no record of these from a month ago. Yeah, it's the 25th. I'm really concerned and disappointed, and I waited on hold yesterday. When they say, if you would like us to call you, instead of waiting online to keep your spot, or waiting on hold to keep your spot in line, we will give you a call back. So it was at least like 15 minutes that it took, and I had waited on hold for about 40, but I had an appointment and another appointment, and I had several appointments yesterday throughout the day, and I'm trying to make sure this charges. It wasn't charging all night. I'm really sad that I know when I call as a provider, and since I'm doing office work for a provider's office, the voice, it's not a voice message, but the prompts to get to try to talk to someone, they're frequently asking us, you can get everything you need off of the internet, or you can get everything you need off of the phone, the automated system. And what's hard is, even online, trying to look something up, it was saying, I don't know, out of service or something. I was like, what? So I've been looking at this and just feeling like maybe they were going to batch this up. But anyways, it's really disappointing, and having really low quality, like anything in my clinic is low quality. All the stuff that I bought yesterday was the cheapest of that design from Walmart. So basically I want to cry about it because I was watching a video about women wearing wigs and attracting wealthy men, black women, and making a living by getting paid by men to look pretty, and they're wearing just plain old wigs, which I had bought a wig once, and I tried to wear it out somewhere, and I could, this was like in the 90s, I was trying to think that Madonna look, so it was like an inner city Chicago. Me and my mom, my grandma each bought a wig. I bought like a short blonde, dark blonde one, and I feel like my mom bought one that looked just like her hairstyle, which was really ironic. It was so bad, guys, because I wanted to try a different look. I have a picture of me with a wig and a pair of, I think it was like light purple sunglasses. I don't know where that picture is, if I could find it. This was about the biggest fun that I had with that picture. I'm reading with the wig, was taking that picture in the hotel with my mom and grandma. And you can't get those days back, and I feel like any job, any skin color, any body type, if you get your hair done, your nails done, your toes done, your makeup, and you dress nice for whatever your body type is, and you present yourself with a certain confidence, I feel like you can be more successful. It doesn't automatically make you successful, but you can be more successful at what you already can get your foot in the door. So I am really having to take a look back about having been raised not in poverty, but becoming impoverished as soon as I left my parents' home. And at age 17, I was treated really poorly. I wasn't allowed to eat. I wasn't really allowed to eat snacks. I could eat some fruit for a few minutes, so my mom would always stop me, say that I was gonna spoil my dinner. That I thought I was just old-fashioned type, but they'd give me the smallest portions for dinner, and they'd be gobbling and gobbling, and I would have a little bit of food, and I'd eat super slow, and I'd be hungry and want more, and there wouldn't really be and any leftovers, like with chicken, homemade chicken. Like, I feel like if you're a family of 4, splitting a whole chicken, I mean, literally that's 8 pieces plus a back, right? I don't think that's enough. If the adults get the breast pieces, if my brother got like say my parents each got a breast and a thigh, and my brother got the legs, or one of the adults took a leg and my brother got the thigh, what does that leave me with? 2 wings? I mean, it's better than some people eat nothing and didn't have that family dinner. But the chickens nowadays are like fake looking, big, obnoxious. Back then they were just like little, like, would get Cornish game hens, so they weren't much bigger than that. In the windowsill in the kitchen, we were utilizing finally for I have two. I threw away one of the volunteer sweet potatoes that was growing. I don't think it really died, but it was kind of stagnant, and I believe it had a bunch of bugs. I could see evidence of something. I don't know if they were mites. I ended up throwing that away. There's another volunteer sweet potato. I planted 3 seeds of sage, which I was trying to be really careful to only have a few. And I don't know what happened, but I dropped the seeds all over the floor. I was trying to be so careful to like not waste them, and then I dropped them. I don't even know. I couldn't even see where they went, and I'm like, really? They rolled away because they're like perfect little balls, and they were multi-size. So sometimes I'm trying to be real careful, and that happens, and I get so disappointed. So I've been pretty disappointed this week. There's the 2 tomato plants that are only the tips of the plants that my partner was growing and caring for really nicely and delicately. I don't know what happened. They died. I don't know if they got like root rot or some kind of what is that, gnat, fungus gnats. I don't know what happened to the plant. But they were growing, and then one of them wasn't. I think he had 2 or 3 in the same pot, and then he cut 2 of them and threw them in the trash. And then I said, "Oh my God, you have these green plants." And I knew someone else that did that, and they're not producing fruit. And I was pretty sad because it was the middle of winter, and they kept alive, and so I repotted them. Within 24 hours, there was roots coming out of these tops. I had 3 in one jar. I think most of them died. 1 or 2 died. So I tried to pull out the dead plant or cutting so it wouldn't contaminate the other one with rot. And then one of them's growing and the leaves are starting to curl in. So I don't know what to do about that. The one that's in a different jar is now got a flower on it. And we had 1 flower, maybe like 3 or 4 flowers in here in this other room. And they looked kind of brown and not very happy. And I went and tried to touch each flower to see if that would pollinate it. I think you need to get in the flower probably. So I probably would need like a sewing needle or a small crochet hook. I have a really small crochet hook. I might do that. Oh, speaking of crochet, I did talk about Joann Fabrics being closed when I arrived on Sunday, which I didn't need to go to. And I was looking for something to crochet that was string instead of yarn. I did get some hemp the time before last, so I have plenty to keep me busy for the next 60 years. I don't think I need any craft supplies. If I actually finish my crafts or work on them and you could see the stuff in the background, being used, or I wanted to do clothing. I really had the dream of going to a fair, a craft fair, and setting up a table with my handmade bracelets, which you sometimes see me wear. I don't have them handy. Crocheted items. What else? Sewed items, quilted items, pillows. I was working on a beautiful necklace. I don't know, beaded metal work. It was the first time getting metal to work, like wire. Or first time recently. I've been crafting all my life. I used to make things for relatives because I didn't have money to buy gifts. I never had anyone say anything about what I made. I would get money to do. My parents would buy me books and stuff, and I remember one time getting a craft kit to make ornaments out of felt. And I sat up all night and made all these ornaments, and I sent a bunch to my relatives here, and probably gave some to my parents. I never heard anybody say thank you or, oh, did you make that? I like that. It was like year after year, and I would be like in high school and stuff, and I'd stay up all night. So I was trying to I never really made anything for myself. I had gone through the rags. I don't know if it was before or after my mom said that I never do anything right. And then if I was trying to craft, please let me sew. You don't know how to sew. You're just going to make a mess. You're just going to cut stuff up and not pay attention to the directions. No. What do you do with the kid? Like, what do you do with the little kid? You give them pieces of fabric and let them play with it. You cut them up, make capes for their dolls, like superhero dolls. Like, why not just give, like, what? My mom had a big white thing, I forgot about it, that was full of fabric. I wonder if she hid money in there. I forgot about that thing. She had a big white container full of cloth, what are they, reams? I call them reams. Bolts of fabric from like the 60s and the 70s. I don't know what else. I never really went through that. I saw it sit there for decades. I just saw it. I watched it. And then everything in the house, I don't know what happened when the fire happened in 2020. So I would go steal rags from the rag bag over by the laundry room, the old clothes and underwear that was to be used for dust rags, and I was trying to sew, and I was using t-shirt material one time. That's the only thing I took, and I was so disappointed, and couldn't figure out how to make some clothing for myself or my doll or whatever. It's just, I don't think that's the right fabric for a child to use. I was disappointed. I had a picture taken of me at Disney World, and it was on the front of a t-shirt, and it was really like pixely black and white, and I was like a baby, or like 2. It's not a good age to go. I was scared. One time I ended up in the rag bag, and I don't know if I saw it in there and was like, oh, that's too bad. But I recognized the shirt, and my dad was polishing his shoes with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, how could you do that? How could you ruin my shirt? And I mean, my mom probably bleached it every time I wore it. And of course it faded, but sometimes in my mind, it's like I want to hoard things. It's like you wear it for a while and then stick it in a frame and stick it on the wall, or give it to the kid and let them dress their dollies or whatever with it. It's all so sad to me. It's so sad. I had this tall doll, and my ex brought it up for my daughter to play with it. I go, get rid of that. Don't bring it up here. Like a life-size doll that walks with you. And it was African American, and it was wearing like, I don't know, like shirt like Michael Jackson. I felt really bad. Now, that it wasn't that didn't want her to play with it. It was that there was mice in the basement, and there was turds on everything. All my stuff was getting dirty. It needed to be cleaned, basically, wiped down at least. Um, I just feel so sad about things this week. It's not a letting go. It's kind of a more sulking. Not just this week. It's only Tuesday, but yeah, this past couple of days, it's not of a sulking or a kind of a pity party or a, why is it got to be like this kind of feeling of not feeling support in this world to be able to lift up and out of this disparity that just sticks like a sticky trap. It's like it feels like very few get away, and when they do, they tear off limbs, like these mice traps and bug traps, or they just walk away with the whole trap, So having that poverty and to talk about the windowsill garden, which is a first for me, really. I've had some houseplants, but I haven't really had luck, or maybe I just didn't have a lot of seeds for indoor herbal gardens, like edible garden. I've had some kind of, again, volunteer plants. I bought some couple mints that really needed to be watered, mint, like already started mints. I bought some plants from somebody here at the farmer's market, like in 2020, the drive-through market. Pretty much got a bunch of bugs all over everything when I finally got them set up with the ones we were trying to plant. I guess, or we planted from seed. And we were trying to do this whole container garden. It was just a nightmare. My plant now has like an arborvitae mite. My rosemary is just randomly over the winter, it just half died. I look out one day and it's half dead. I thought that I got rounded up with my partners. I know those were mites, and I could see little white fuzzies on them for a year, and I didn't treat the plant. And he told me to use dichotomous earth, or is it dichotomous earth? Anyway, I have I always call it dichotomous. It's dichotomous. I always call it diatomaceous. There's one of those ones. Diatomaceous earth. Excuse my English. So thinking about when I bought the almost 3 acres in West Virginia, I wanted to live off the land before that, and we were homeless. Someone had took my lease out from under me, didn't give me a chance to re-sign it. When my mom and my mother-in-law died within 10 days of each other. So there's all this stuff to deal with the family. I signed my apartment out from under me, my room. It wasn't even an apartment. And I ended up living in my vehicle, and I thought I could be a forager. I thought I could be a I thought that I could be a what do you call it? Hunter-gatherer. And there are hunting lands in the middle of the U.S. There are Bureau of Land Management lands. There are places that you probably could do berry picking and camping. We didn't have anything to go hunting with. I didn't have the funds to do it or get the licenses or all that. For some reason, I thought that I could just be nomadic, or that I could get a piece of property and just plant on it and grow my own food. And having watched my relatives grow indoor plants and garden plants with green beans and asparagus, we didn't have much food where my mom was. We had like 2 acres where our home lot was on. We could have really she used to grow a garden. My dad took it over for trees, so she used to grow a bunch of vegetables and beans and maybe broccoli. I don't know. That one garden on the lower level by the lake was doing pretty well until it got taken over. And maybe, um, like, what do? I buy stuff for myself, and my partner takes it. I buy pans, stainless steel, to make herbal teas, the medicinal ones where I have to heat them up, and he takes them. And then I'm like, I don't want aluminum or contaminants, and then I don't want stuff that he eats, like corn and wheat and meat, the stuff that I don't eat. Like, I guess maybe it's, I feel like it's brand new and you buy it and you only use it for water and herbs that you feel like, even if you wash it, and you're washing it in the sink with other stuff. It's like, how contaminated is it? Is it sterile? No. So, living off the land didn't work, both in the freelance and in the 3 acres. I had cats digging up my garden and using it as a litter box. Planted stuff. I don't know what happened that one year. But the animals must have really just tore it up. They planted a bunch of stuff. I started planting stuff on the container in the front so I could keep an eye on it. I had planted stuff. I had my partner dig a garden right in the back window so I could look out the window and shoo the animals away. Because we turned the bedroom into a living room, and I think I saw a bunch of scary spiders or I don't know, I was scared, snakes or something, because there was like all this tall grass. People I know, they complained we didn't have a lawnmower. We had mostly wildflowers coming up and mimosa trees, and it appalled our neighbors. And then of course you're attracting ticks and who knows. I think about that now. How I forgot about the grass there. I was thinking about what was I exposed to ticks in Michigan, but what about West Virginia with the tall grass? Michigan, I ran to the woods with my dogs. I've never been tested for Lyme. I could have Lyme and not know it. I haven't even had one doctor ask me if I had Lyme or susceptible to Lyme. I feel like if you're African descent, people just think that you just stay inside and you're in a hut with just dirt all around you, no grass, no food, not like, you're gonna be like, oh, the only reason that you're fat is because you must be on food stamps or something. Like, I feel like they just don't get it. Speaking of that, what people don't get, I don't get myself, and I'm struggling with untreated ADHD, which I knew that I had for years and didn't want to own up to it, despite attempts at self-medicating, even with caffeine and chocolate. So I'm pretty disappointed in myself for not owning up to that, and knowing that I hadn't got any support with my health issues until I ended up where my partner is, and that's part of it. He says, you need to come here and get health care. So dental care, eye care, being sent to specialists, they still blow me off. There's still a disparity, but at least the referrals are getting made, and at least the labs and imaging are being done. Let me stand up, because speaking of health, my ankle is really, really bothering me. Hold on. So my mind is thinking, if I'm not able to figure out how to grow more than a handful of tomatoes, and a one-time picking up some wild lettuce after I had bought the plant already from the store, like the red and green stuff, baby lettuces, and I never have in my life remember harvesting a whole head of broccoli or head of lettuce or cabbage or even kale. I saw my kale growing in Portland when I had container gardens, and I come back the next morning and there's nothing left but the stalk. So the animals, the worms, moth, what do you call them? Not called caterpillars. Some larvae, something ate my plants, and the total plant is gone. I don't remember harvesting any of that. I might have. My kids used to have a really good fundraiser where they did organic plant starts, and I have people that had container gardens for flowers, which is good. Marigolds, those were fine. Just didn't last to the next year. And I had somebody who had a bunch of property in a beautiful, expensive home, and she she planted a bunch of herbs, and then she comes back and yells at me because one of the herbs spread into the neighbor's yard, and the neighbors complain. But I'm like, herbs. We're in medical school, like naturopathic medical school. We're learning herbs. A lot of the herbs and plants that we use are weeds. In many places, they're growing without support, and they're probably potentially invasive. It's like, I don't know. I never planted this stuff in the ground. It's like you ordered the stuff from the fundraiser. You need to read the insert and see if it suggests you grow in a pot or in a contained garden where you have it, where it can't get into your neighbor's. You plant that. You plant bamboo or whatever on a property line. What's it going to do? It's going to spread. You got oak trees falling, acorns falling on your neighbor's lawn on the other side of the fence. You either just prune your trees so it doesn't go over there. Like, you got to maintain. I don't have much of a yard. I was irresponsible when I had a yard. Sometimes I feel like the karmic circle, which I don't want to believe, but it pops into my mind, like, because you weren't a good steward of what you had in the past, why should you receive now? This is a, sowing and reaping. And when I was conceiving 2 children in West Virginia and delivering one and being pregnant and moving at 8 months pregnant with the second one, I was having like hyperemesis. I had no medical care, no insurance, no help whatsoever. And I was like sick all the time, on the phone trying to get a job, had no money, no food. And I was trying to grow my own off of whatever dirt or shovel had to, grow a watermelon. I grew one watermelon in my life, and it was this big. And I hope I ate it. I'm pretty sure I remember cutting it open, but I hope I ate it. So it's been a big struggle. My clinic, you could tell if you're my patient that I struggled to have nice equipment or nice paperwork, or I'm not able to have my lab results from the lab digital. So it's taken me 1 or 2 days to write a lab order for somebody working in my home office. And it's not just like, oh, I want a thyroid panel and a CBC. It's like I need a bunch of stuff with the different codes of the test and the diagnostic code attached to that. That's attached to the visit that I saw them on. And it just puts me behind. Another day or two. Even if I had 1 patient a week, I do spend a lot of time doing the discovery calls, because I had to let people know that I'm not a state of the art, and with that, having them read between the lines. And I have to say, in a way, normal people would say, hey, pay for the visit. Even if it's a half an hour visit, get the visit, get the intake paperwork, get some kind of information to more, maybe through the intake paperwork, and then go out and get paid for that visit and let them decide if it's a good match, instead of me giving away 15, 20, 30, 45 minute, an hour appointments with the people are already spoke to me on the phone for 15 minutes prior to that, and they're sending texts and emails and sending me their intake paperwork, and they want to sign up for stuff and give me their lab values from their primary care, and they want me to review their hospital notes, and I haven't got paid even for 1 visit. It's one thing is an established patient. So I'm a sucker, because all I want to do is help people, and it's causing harm to myself, and it's not allowing me to help the people in a high quality way. And I can help them in a quality way, but my mind wants to help them in a high quality way. And the quality way is what's also time consuming, particularly if you want to do boutique medicine and you want to do payment plan, monthly payment plans, or 3-month $3,000 comprehensive health care. That's a whole nother story, because then that work, you got paid for that work. And even if it was a monthly or a multi-$1,000 fee, it's still boiling down to $12, $15, maybe $35 an hour, depending on how fast you can do. I mean, that could be an average, because someone, it might be easier. They might have less medications that you have to match up with their herbs and supplements and their condition and their allergies. But I put it at, even if you paid like a functional style medicine or integrative healthcare provider for a 3-month plan and you end up throwing down, say, $1,500 to $3,000, the amount of work, because it's individualized. At least for me, some people just have. Someone asked if I just had a handout. I guess I give to everyone. It's like, no, I don't. I don't do medicine that way. But I could brand that way. But I would still need to individualize. If someone's trying to conceive, if someone's perimenopausal, if it's a male, if it's someone that has a certain condition and they're having psych medication, or somebody that has chronic, or like, I can't just give you the same, do this, do this, do this. I could start you at a baseline of, I would like to see this and I would like to see that, but it's not really, it doesn't work in my mind. If I go to my doctor and I'm coughing, they're going to give me a certain medicine, and the next person they're going to give the same medicine, and the next one they're going to give the same thing. So I almost wish that was me, that I could simplify it so that I could streamline it. But I also know how it feels to be, these people aren't in poverty, okay? They have jobs that have insurance, or they're paying cash. I want to streamline it, and I want to be able to not have somebody go and buy a bunch of stuff and then complain that they wasted their money and it didn't work. This is really sad. I'm going to enjoy my day. There's been a lot of, like, my dad used to threaten me with whippings. Whoopings, he called them. Whippings. And you could see those slavery shows where they take the, like, I've been getting a lot of whippings this week, mentally, of just insulting, and or it could be a reality of me having had gone to, with this injury, having had the 2 days a week of physical therapy, plus the dental visits, plus the GI complaints, and the insurance keeps denying stuff. And I went to a cardiologist, and I went to ENT, I went to a neurosurgeon last week. I don't feel that my health condition is impeding my clinic, but I feel like it is definitely making it harder with my time management. So in an effort to grow the clinic and see more people and make at least break even and hopefully make a profit, so I'm not spending $1,000 a month just to maintain the clinic and the rent and everything, and trying to grow my own food. And we invested in some really cheap Walmart. It is like, I've seen soil, bad soil once. We bought some cheap stuff in West Virginia, and I was like, never again. We had all kinds of bugs in our house after that. I was getting, like, better soil, and then the Miracle Grow is junky, so we got some organic stuff at Walmart fall, and we just end up buying a whole cart full, and for a couple dollars a bag, and then you pour it out and it just aerosolizes. It's so fine. It's got to be mixed with something. I don't know what. I'm going to ask my partner today. I'll let you guys know. Going to the collapse, what do you do when you want to think like a post-apocalyptic movie or something, and you want to be like, what do you do with your skill? I could be dressed like the Flintstones, wearing some kind of, they have those sideways animal cloth. I have a shirt. I should pause. I showed you guys my pillow. I only have one piece of fabric like that. It's supposed to. I kind of wish I had more. You get to see me like just like this. Actually, this would look like a better thing to make than a pillow. I mean, just like the Flintstones, and go around in a primitive car with my tools. My tools I have are good. Make sure you insure your stuff. Hopefully, the fine print doesn't. If something were to happen, make sure your fine print says that it'll actually cover it. And what's your deductible? You would have to pay $3,000 to replace a $3,000 item that was lost or stolen or whatever, or destroyed or waterlogged in a flood or tornado. Could have ripped the roof off our place. So, just like the Flintstones. I make these videos so that somebody in my situation or in a similar situation or that can relate or maybe not relate can have some hope. What I'm saying today is not very hopeful. What can you do to get your spirits aligned with what you think the universe has for you in order not even just to help others around you, but to help your own self? What do you do when there's chaos? There's police activity involving a man with a gun in Portland, Oregon, and my daughter was on the bus where this was occurring and was at the bus stop with the same individual that was being pursued by the police department. There was a bank robbery right behind us on the other side of the country here where we are, with police activity, which my partner didn't even tell me that there was police dogs for days sniffing around looking for the suspect. I swore I had a deja vu with that too. There's a couple of things that I swore I read an article like older white male robs a bank, such and such, such and such. So I wonder if it's the same guy and he got caught and released, or if he finally just got caught. But I definitely read a similar story. It was, I'm thinking about 3 months ago. So what do you do when you make do with what you have and you get on your Facebook group and you see all your other colleagues across the country saying, oh, I have a sublease room available, medical treatment room. I have a building that I'm selling, or I have a building that I bought and here's the 3 or 4 empty rooms that I'm going to be leasing out to other providers, if you are someone you know, or acupuncturist, massage therapist. And there's these beautiful, clean, perfect window coverings, zen space, desk, big old comfy chairs, like fireplace, even if it's like gas, the fireplace in the center of the waiting area, reception area, in a building, secure, parking lot, clean. There's no mold dripping down the walls. There's no paint flecking. There's no carpet from 1950. With like this doors with all punch. You see how tall this person was. They're all punched. Some of them are mesh repaired with mesh and plaster. Doorknobs that are all mismatched or broken. I took this doorknob off the closet because there was only one on the outside and none on the inside. And the last thing I want is for me to accidentally have that door shut on me somehow. Like, you know, how often have you got a skirt or something caught on something when you walk by, or caught on the edge of the doorknob and it like slams shut? I could not. I tried to open it from the inside and I couldn't get the torque power or whatever to get it open. So I ended up asking my partner to take it off when we first moved in. And he said no, and it was kind of like, you take it off. And I said okay, because I'm not going to be sitting in the closet trying to bust through the wall thinking these walls move. But would it be my luck to find, like, I'm not trying to tear the whole wall. Could you imagine all kind of critters would fall out of there? Oh. We got holes here. We have a space and insurance and medical license and business license to conduct business on this property with a setup that's next to one door and one bathroom for the customers. It's a mixed use building. I'm not taking advantage because I have too much, because I've had so much poverty that it's hard to let go, because I feel like when I need that item, such as like cloth or something, then I'm not going to be able to afford it because I got a good deal on it, or I got it free, or I made do and got that desk or chair because it was the cheapest. I didn't really like it. I didn't really want it, but I needed something like this yoga mat from AliExpress. I wanted to save $2 on a yoga mat. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you this at the end of the video. I wanted to do this, and then I ended up having to replace it with something a little better, with or without a coupon, and putting myself into debt. So then I double buy stuff, I quadruple buy stuff, I misplace stuff. I forget I have stuff, and then I want to utilize this like I'm that guy in Mad Max 2 who lives underground, the guy with the plane lives underground with his son, and he's got everything he needs to survive in apocalypse. This is fiction, apocalyptic. My mind had watched that movie so many times. I was always in survival mode because of the abuse that occurred towards me as a child from my family, from society close, and from racism, structural racism, and sexism. And, turned into non-straightened hairism. I didn't have my hair weaved, braided professionally, or straightened. You get disowned. I got disowned from my family. Between being natural and being intelligent, I got disowned. So I'm letting that, like people with Alzheimer's, I feel like people with weight on their brain somehow, I feel like I'm letting that make me, not even that I can't do my work, I just say, hey, just don't do. Or you need to do something else. Yeah, I definitely need to do something else. I need to do laundry by hand. I need to do these certain things for my business where it's not streamlined. It's accounting is a nightmare. My spreadsheets I used to keep, there's something, like, I don't know if I need to move. In fact, I'm going to talk to you part today about moving the living room around because the feng shui is not right. I've been in places where I was more productive. But I think with Mercury retrograde, just hang in there. I talked to my older friend. I talk to other people in meetings that are virtual, and I get a vibe that the majority of the people don't like me, or they think that I am too studious with my chairing when I prepare a topic. Why is it when a black person does the work? I went to school in the U.S. I went to college in the U.S. English is my native language. I read books all my life. That's why I don't speak words well, because I'm more of a reader and don't pronunciate things well. I had teachers for parents after my dad was during and after my dad was a military navigator. I went to graduate school. I take a lot of classes. I shadow. I have struggled to earn income, so I end up volunteering and shadowing all over the country. I haven't been able to travel the world because I don't have the funds to even get to Canada right now. And if I do, I didn't want to go by myself because no one else in my family has a passport. So I'm a person who's slept on the ground outside because I was homeless. I was a person who stood in line at food banks while people fought over moldy limes. I was a person who had kids living in different shelters and housing programs because I never made enough as a single mom with an education, multiple degrees and certificates. I'm not hired by my doula clients. I'm not hired by my naturopath clients. There's something wrong with me where I am not valued enough to get money. I've opened GoFundMes. I've opened BuyMeACoffee. I have Cash App on a lot of my videos. I haven't received a penny. If I did have a wig and a weave and the eyelashes and the makeup, and I had a better body and better equipment, look at my camera. The camera broke on this like multi-$1,000 computer, and the thing during COVID, they wanted me to send it in to Texas or somewhere. They didn't have a local place to fix this computer, and now I'm SOL. I'm really disappointed. I'm really sad. I'm really low quality. I could see the quality of the Zoom calls when I was working or shadowing to finish some prenatal or postpartum visits. I could see the other people on Zoom and their camera quality, and the light was good, even if they're people of color and we're dark. And what is wrong? You guys see how low quality my camera is. What are the settings? What did I do wrong? So this comes across as this lady's hair sticking up. She doesn't have on any makeup. looks tired all the time. You know, I'm obese. I've been wearing this raggedy tennis shoes because of my ankle injury. I finally had to switch because the brace was digging in. I told my orthopedic that it was too small. She's like, no, it's not. You're not fat. Like, yes, I am. I'm obese. Fat is one thing, but I am literally was over at 180 at my height, and I'm getting a generic brace that I had to ask for at the hospital. It's not like they said, oh, let's get you a brace so you could walk out of here. It's like I had a wheelchair in. It's like I had to say, can I have a brace? Or so, and so I think they were putting the brace on. I was like, can I get some crutches and stuff? Like, how am I supposed to? I mean, I'm not getting that free. The stuff costs money, insurance. But when you're really large, you need a bigger set of things, or it just squeezes you. At first, they're like, keep your leg propped up, but the brace help keep the swelling down. I can understand that, but using it for 6 months, it was bruising up my ankle, and my weight increased the highest that it's been because I was eating the raw noodles, the 6-calorie a serving noodles with the nut butter. So my weight had greatly increased 2 weeks ago. The same thing happened last summer. I gained 15 pounds in 2 weeks. Eating kelp noodles raw. And I just learned how to make them really tasty too. So I'm going to undo this. The people that get help, they use their money, they help improve their look, they have nice apartments to show in the background of their videos. The people like me that don't get help in the real world, don't have family or friends that can help, barely anyone. If you call, I'm in recovery meetings. I'm that one person that's been in the meeting for 18 and a half, 19 years and doesn't have a sponsor. Or you have a sponsor, they're abusive. They treat their other sponsees well. They go out to eat once a week. They do the step work. They come over to each other's houses. They invite each other to weddings. I'm that person that they want to yell at or tell them, you're stupid and gossip about. So, AliExpress is not cheap. This, I should turn the light on. I'll just show you the bubbly part. See these bubbles? The whole thing is like this. This is the yoga mat that's made of the worst material. It stays folded. It stays rolled. See that? It stays rolled up. So if I would have gone to Whole Foods or bought something off Amazon, I probably would have paid $18 to probably $25 for the cheapest mats. And you can get wider ones and longer ones depending on different patterns. So I got that one and it got lost or something, and I went to Whole Foods one day. I didn't have money to do it, but I put stuff on credit, and I had got this yoga mat, the Gaiam, I don't know how to say it, Gaiam brand. Here it is. Sorry the low quality. It could be just operator error. This one, it does unroll all the way. It lays flat. It's quite heavy. The other one did come with a bag, but the bag, it's just falling apart. And then this one I bought a strap. So I used to go to yoga regularly. I actually signed up to do yoga before COVID closed down, and I showed up and nobody was there. And they're like, oh, we didn't know anybody wanted to come tonight. And so I never went back. It was like a free or sliding scale yoga, or maybe it was $5. I don't know what it was, but it was over at a clinic. I showed up, nobody was there, and I was all ready, and so I just double yogaed. Part of that is because I need the exercise. Part of it's because I need the serenity, and part of it is because I have so many injuries that were not addressed years ago. I was going back to physical therapy, and we were living in a garage. We had no space, and I barely had enough space to lay out the mat, but I was doing my home exercises in the garage more than I am now until we got shelves and stuff. So being in poverty, having an attic that has a kitchen but no cabinets, trying not to walk around with the glasses on the head because I'll hit the wall, trying to brush my teeth, and the wall is right here, and you like bonk your head, and you're like, oh, be careful. And it could be worse because I have slept outside on the ground. But who here in these videos has gone in and out of poverty? Like, started your life. Like, I was treated poorly by my parents. I wasn't given adequate shoes and clothing, not given adequate food. They have body dysmorphic issues with that, so I was literally not allowed to eat. And I was so hungry. Usually you're a kid, you come home from school, you want to eat a snack, a granola bar even, oatmeal, whatever, and some milk or cookies, whatever. I couldn't really eat, so I sat in my room and I ate paper. As much paper as I could chew on. I thought it was fat because my parents talked about and made fun of my weight. 20-something, 30 years later, my uncle said, oh my God, you were the skinniest kid I ever saw. And I remember pictures of me holding I was wearing like a white tank top thing, and I was like holding, what's a butterfly net or something, and I looked at me, and my face is round like a kid's fat face, and I kind of had a little belly. To me, my eyes see a fat kid. To my uncle, I say, oh my God. And his daughter is really, really skinny. And it made me sick to my stomach to know that I had developed eating disorders and hated my body when I was 7 and 8 years old. I remember punching my legs. So what do you do when you're raised in poverty but your parents aren't? They're driving around Mercedes. But when you end up homeless, you have the passion to be a doctor, you want to go on these trips around the world and help people in different countries, people that look like me. I'm not going to be a white savior because I'm not white. I'm like 20% white, but nobody pays attention to that. I don't have any privilege of any white person. People say, this light-skinned black lady somewhere on some class I was on said, well, you all have privilege because you are in the United States. And when she spoke and I saw her, I thought she was a white woman. But when she mentioned something about being black, I had to be like double, triple, quadruple take. I said she has the privilege of a white. She might have been born light and her parents could have been dark, and she could have grown up somewhere like my mom and different types of housing and stuff. But I don't think that she didn't benefit from her color, her fair complexion, and her professionalism. I'm bringing down the house when the character Charlene is in the country club with the Steve Martin character, and the sister-in-law is like, ma'am, like trying to think that she's a waitress. No matter what, there's places that we can go, not 100% of places, that we're always going to be treated poorly, we're always going to be not paid, not appreciated, not taken seriously, and then it affects the rest of life. And it affects when my colleagues, partners, parents, in-laws, banks lend or donate money for them to at least get on their feet, or even them working. School counselor, track coach, delivering pizzas. Deliver pizzas side by side when you're a tired, fat, black woman versus a younger woman with a pretty lipstick and light eyes and light hair. Come back and see who gets more tips. It doesn't matter if you say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, hey, you have a good day, every order is perfect. Always get the napkins. They want it exactly 3 plates, no more, no less, and 13 packets of red pepper crushed. You get it right every time, you might not even get a tip every time. This person goes, they screw everything up, they get a $20 tip every time. I used to do pizza. I used to see who got the tips. They got lighter skin, lighter eyes. And I was sad. It was really sad to see hundreds of dollars of differences with people with the same shifts And that's the average. You see the same customers and you get similar patterns. The only thing that changed at that one is that they started doing the tips. Some of them in advance. So then it wasn't a matter of, oh, like they can look at me and be like, sorry, I don't have any extra money. Or they could be like, here's 60 cents. And they can see someone else and be like, oh yeah, I'll be right back. And they get their wallet. Of course they have $10, $5, $20, $1, or they write it. They use the card. They fill it in on the receipt. So that's the sad world that we live in, and you wonder why I'm doing poorly. Most African American women that I know are not doing poorly as I am. Most that I know and know of. This is the problem with me. So don't take this as a general. I bring up race, but I also bring up family, health condition, physical health condition, being in recovery. Being in recovery also means that I don't have a substance to take the edge off. What did people do when they socialize and have fun on the weekends with their friends, and they get some rest on Sunday, and they go back to work and get paid and maintain their lifestyle? They took the edge off. They went out. They did something. They used a medication or an alcohol to kind of get rid of the stress from work and the stress from, bills and the stress of if you have an inspection in 2 weeks and all this stuff. So the only thing I can do is trust in my higher power, because whatever I'm doing on my own, it is not working, just like it wasn't working when I used to drink at 10 years old. And that's what's scary. It's admitting to myself that what I'm doing is not working. And that I feel shame and guilt and all the other words that go with that. And nobody is going to want to hang around me as family, friends, or as clients with this, demeanor. So I'm going to do what I can for myself today, including brushing my teeth and floss and water pick and do all the things. My ankle is killing me standing up here. I got to get a wrap on this thing and actually get dressed in a normal clothes. I'm thinking it's going to be a nice day, and I'm thinking because of my mood that I need to get out to the park, even if some of that time is sitting at the picnic table drinking a smoothie. Although I don't have bananas, but we'll figure something out. I got some freeze-dried ones. I'm putting them in there with some strawberries. Bye.